So these are really important issues. And then in these last 5 years, the IASC has come up with developing the issues about how we coordinate in an emergency. And that's where the WASH cluster has come up. And one of the things which I've been doing for the last five years is actually developing and leading the WASH cluster. So these are the issues. It's about developing kit like this. These are the sorts of things which one saw. And about working in the humanitarian section under the IASC, particularly with OCHA and other agencies. And in our sector, in the water sanitation for humanitarian, to develop the WASH cluster. WASH cluster is the key body which coordinates water sanitation right now in Haiti. It's what the donors accept as the way we do business in the humanitarian sector these days. And it's about keeping together. Even though that's not an easy job right now, there are 142 agencies in the WASH cluster in Haiti right now. But when we look at governments like the China, this is a photograph from China, we see an organization where the international community wasn't really that involved because obviously the capacity of the government of China was there and it brought things in. This is a photograph from Haiti from a year ago, from when there was an enormous cyclone, the second city of Gonaive, and the floods and the damage in that, the floods aren't still there, but the damage is still there because you have a government there that didn't have the capacity to strengthen and work and provide the sort of services that a government needed to do. Of course, we're talking about the tsunami and, of course, issues to do with the earthquake, which we've all been talking about in Haiti. There are standards which we know that now control the humanitarian side, the Red Cross Code of Conduct, WHO water standards, and SPHERE now is a part of how we do it. And, of course, to try and ensure that, the WASH cluster. Why SPHERE? For those who don't know what SPHERE is, developed by the NGOs in 1997, accepted by the agencies, UN and others, and it's about minimum standards in humanitarian response. And that, as I say, in today's world where we have the sort of response we've had in Haiti, where huge numbers of agencies came in who didn't have very much experience in emergencies, they didn't have any standards to work to, it's very, very important to have that sort of issues. I'm not going to talk about those issues because we haven't got time and I'm running out of time, but just want to show you some of the issues that connected to practical options of putting in water supplies, making sure that you've got tap bars and kit that go together. When you're putting it on the ground, you're putting together, organising tankering in the initial stages, you're organising how that water is distributed, and also connected to that, of course, you've got enormous damage to your infrastructure, and I'm not going to talk about your infrastructure. Sanitation, we've talked about sanitation. Everybody talks about sanitation. These were some of the sort of things that came out of the Lancet in a couple of years ago, that adequate sanitation is one of the strongest things that we have as an international community. So, in a way, these are things that we know. These are things that are not new. But when we're dealing with it practically, when we're actually talking about sanitation, when we're talking about doing something about it, we're not talking about issues, we're talking about doing something about it. And I think that's really what my background is about, actually having to do something about it. It's the practical side of making things work, making sure that you do have sanitation facilities available. In the China earthquake, the China government didn't want temporary solutions. It wanted really good quality active solutions, which in some cases it had the finances to do it. And these are some of the pictures I took of some of those things. Unfortunately, in most cases, you don't have that. In the Bihar floods and others, we don't have those amounts of money to be able to do and put that sort of facility in. So you have to look at cheaper options. In Haiti right now, we've had to put in options where people are because they've moved immediately from their homes to where they're going to live under a piece of plastic. So it's not about planning and doing something and bringing in something nice. It's about providing a facility that you have to provide this afternoon, or certainly as soon as practically possible. And that meant simple arrangements with pit latrines and arounds. So there are key indicators connected with that. I'm not going to talk to those. Hygiene promotion is obviously the other key area. It's not just about letting people know it's not just about hand washing, which hand washing is a very, very clear factor. It's about involving people. In Haiti, one of the issues to do with Haiti, the role of women in committees and others was very low. We tried to bring that in. This is a woman who was doing work in the hygiene side, but she was also acting as a voice for women in the community. And that voice in the community in hygiene is a very important thing, and almost all the surveys we're doing of almost all the emergencies, we're finding information flow from the community. Communities don't know what's going on. They don't know what to expect. They don't know how much they're going to get. The last thing I just want to do, just for a few minutes, is that disaster waste management. Right now in Haiti, you've got an enormous problem of disaster waste management. It's all connected to water and sanitation and hygiene. And we found that out very much in the tsunami, that you need to do something about it. And of course, you've got huge amounts of stuff. Even after 9/11 down here, we had a huge quantity, Trade Center, 1.2 million square cubes of rubble and waste. Right now in Haiti, we're trying to deal with that in terms of how move the waste out the way. Somebody was talking this morning about how you deal with the waste. Right now, if you look, and these are just two pictures. This is a picture of the waste place just outside of Port-au-Prince. It's 4 kilometers square, and it's steaming and burning all the time, and families and people are living on it. When we're talking about health, we're talking about that's how you deal with that, how we deal with that. And of course, inside of that, there are huge numbers of people living, and there are huge numbers of children actually working in that rubbish. And of course, that is a part of your hygiene side that you're trying to deal with. And this is a semblance of the last point I want to make, is that this is an urbanized type of problem, and that we're moving into a sector, we're moving into a world where our problems are being more urbanized. And I don't think it's a range of agencies, and I include my own as that we are really on top of how we deal with large-scale emergencies in an urban environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Paul. I think that gave us quite a bit to think about, and if you save your questions for the end, we'll have an open discussion with the panel. Now I'd like to move on and introduce our next speaker, Mr. Ron Clemmer. Ron is a WASH sector specialist. He has over 21 years of experience, professional experience in the water and sanitation issues, and his experience involves engineering for groundwater and surface water supply, drinking water quality, water reuse, and sanitation projects for both rural areas, small towns, and urban areas. He's also been an advisor for water and sanitation programs and projects in Uganda and Liberia in Africa. Ron also sits on the board as a member of the board of directors of the Millennium Water Alliance. So now I'd like to give Ron the floor. Thank you.
Should I just sit here?
Yeah, if you speak.
Okay.
That's great. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm privileged to be here talking about a subject that's very dear to my heart, not just because of the great need here. We see all of these numbers of hundreds of millions of people, of billions of people, but really thinking about those individuals that have water and sanitation needs in their communities, and just to think about their needs and how we can address those needs. I am the Senior Technical Advisor for WASH for World Vision. World Vision is a Christian humanitarian organization working in about 100 countries around the world. And we do emergency relief work, but most of our work is in development work. And so the work that we do is to address the needs of children, whether it's health or education, nutrition, economic development, agriculture, any of the needs in a community that affect the lives of children.